Welcome to TV Africa News. Thank you so much for joining us. There is being part of us. This is Africa Today. My name is Nahawi Kajura, but first are the headlines. MPs loud National Water on use of $150 million loan. FDC urges government to give taxi waivers to private schools. Mali ex-rebels in the government return to talks after almost a year. In sports news today, Uganda Cranes eliminates Tanzania to qualify for 6th successive time. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. We start with one of our top stories. Members of Parliament on the Committee on National Economy have hailed the National Water and Sewage Corporation for apt utilization of a $150 million loan. We have the report.
Parliament in 2011 and 2019 approved the loan from the French Development Agency and other partners to construct the Katosi water treatment plant in Mukono district between 2018-2021. The committee, chaired by Honorable John Bosco Ikojo, toured the plant to ascertain firsthand the performance of the loan. According to Ikojo, the committee was impressed with the facility and by standards is one of the best performing loans, unlike several others that have had challenges. Honorable Robert Migade, the Vice Chairperson of the committee, said that the treatment plant was a role model facility that other actors needed to emulate. Honorable Geoffrey Macho, the Busia Municipality MP, said that he had travelled with different parliament committees to assess the performance of the loans, but this particular case had stood out of the park. Despite a provision for future expansion to 240,000 M3 per day at the plant, Amayo revealed that National Water and Sewerage Corporation needed an additional €45 million to complete the project, of which €35 million would be sunk into pumping water.
Away from that, the Forum for Democratic Change has asked government to consider giving subsidies, including taxi waiver, to private schools that hiked fees rather than threatening to close them.
With schools resuming today, learning institutions, including government-aided schools, hiked their school fees on grounds that the cost of essential commodities, including maize flour and beans, is high. This forced the Ministry of Education to come out and warn to close such schools that will charge exorbitant fees. However, during the weekly press conference, FDC Deputy Spokesperson John Chikonyogo says it's true fuel and other essentials are high and the best solution is for the government to come out and help these schools.
But going back to this inspection of theirs, if they are to be real inspectors, they should be at least informing government that you are telling these people not to increase fees. How are they going to make ends meet? How are they going to buy food? These private schools depend on good teachers. If you don't get good teachers, your students will not pass. If they don't pass, nobody will bring children to your school. So how do they balance the two? How's the government coming in? They have left it to the parents to suffer on their own.
The Forum for Democratic Change Deputy Spokesperson John Chikonyogo has also asked Kampala Capital City Authority to carry out proper assessment before reducing the number of border borders to be allowed to operate in Kampala.
Before you remove border borders, put buses. I couldn't be driving here if buses were efficient. I could be paying maybe 2,000 to come here, but now I'm spending 40,000 from home to here. But they are doing nothing about it. They are just arbitrarily saying, we are going to chase them away. They don't even have feeling. Where are they going to work?
The KCCA leadership, led by Ministers Minsa Kabanda and Chofa Togabye, announced that only 7,000 border borders will be allowed out of over 40,000 border borders that are currently operating in the 5 divisions of Kampala.
Moving on in our top stories, police have called upon students to be security cautious as they report back to school for their third-term academics. Now, the call was made by the police spokesperson, Fred Enanga, as he addressed the media at their headquarters in Naguru, Kampala.
In his address to journalists at their headquarters in Naguru, Kampala, Fred Enanga, the police spokesperson, cautioned students to ensure their safety more, especially in these times as they report back to school. Enanga's words come at a time schools in Uganda report back for their third-term academics, which commenced today, Monday 5th September 2022. Enanga said in these times, many wrong characters do target students with the aim of robbing them of their properties, while others are trafficked away, hence a need to be vigilant. He also called upon parents not to relax on their children, but ensure they are safe from the time they set off home until they arrive at school. Commenting on the election environment in a neighboring East African country, Kenya, Inanga said that they have beefed up security at the various borders of Uganda and Kenya to ensure peace prevails.
Thank you so much, Harry Potter Ahumuza. We take a quick break. We shall come back with the international news. Welcome back for the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the Brighton. In international news, $1 billion project to clean up one of the most polluted places on earth, the Nigerian region of Ogoniland, have been described by the UN as incompetent, wasteful, and lacking transparency. We have the report.
The Angola Dutch oil giant Shell is partly funding the cleanup after leaving Ogoniland in the 90s. Following complaints of leaking pipelines. For decades, oil has continued to leak from dormant wellheads, resulting in the once lush mangroves being covered in crude oil and well water smelling of benzene. Shell's huge cleanup began in 2019, backed by the United Nations, and was considered to be one of the most ambitious projects of its kind in the world. But far from improving the situation, documents from the UN Environmental Programme reveal the pollution could now be getting worse. Shell has already paid out more than $175 million in compensation, and the UK Supreme Court has ruled that similar cases could be heard in Britain.
Moving on in international news, after almost a year away from the negotiating table, ex-rebels and the government in Mali have resumed talks. There has been turmoil in Mali since its independence and jihadist insurgencies in the north in 2012 and has been military coups in 2020 and 2021. We have the report.
On Friday, an alliance of Tuareg and Arab rebel groups, pro-government armed groups, and the government met with the monitoring committee of Algiers Agreement signed in 2015. Algerian Minister of Foreign Affairs Ramtane Ramamara said the talks had been constructive. Ramamara added that the comments that were made by the government representative were satisfactory in content and in tone, and he is confident that at their next meeting they will make even more significant progress. It is the first time the groups have met in 11 months to discuss the major deal, with participants feeling hopeful. Head of the coordination of Azawad movements, Ataye Mohammed, is cautiously optimistic about the talks. He said that the government of Mali and the parties have once again reiterated the commitment to work for the full and consensual implementation of the Peace and Reconciliation Agreement.
Away from that, Angola's largest opposition is still contesting the election results. Now, UNITA's presidential candidate, Adalberto Costa Jr., is now calling upon the Constitutional Court to nullify the election and call for a new vote. We have more.
The National Electoral Commission had on Monday confirmed win for the longest ruling party MPLA, which attained 124 MPs while UNITA got 90 MPs. UNITA's presidential candidate Alberto Costa Jr. alleged that the MPLA did not win the elections of the last August 24th and asked the National Electoral Commission not to shy away from confronting the results in its possession, with the copies of the figures in the possession of the political parties. UNITA continues with a legal dispute, now in the Constitutional Court. The Angolan Electoral Observatory on Thursday presented the preliminary report that integrated 61 non-governmental organizations and other religious groups. They noted the non-publication of the voters' lists compromised the transparency of the vote. The National Electoral Commission has so far declined to comment regarding the election minutes because they were posted at polling stations. The slightly more than 100 observers noted that the voting activities, particularly in urban areas, went without problems and that the atmosphere in those areas was calm.
Now, Togolese authorities have announced over the weekend the release of 3 Ivorian female soldiers detained in Mali since July. Discussions are now focused on the release of the remaining 46 soldiers. The 3 soldiers were released on humanitarian grounds and are part of the group of 49 Ivorian soldiers obtained in Bamako since July 10th. Togo has been mediating the crisis between Mali and Côte d'Ivoire. According to Malian authorities, the Ivorian soldiers are accused of being mercenaries, while Ivorian authorities claim they were on a mission to support UN forces in Mali. Ivorian authorities have promised to follow Malian and UN rules relative to the deployment of military forces in the country. Mali has also accused Abidjan of inciting West African countries to harden sanctions against Malian soldiers behind 2 coups since 2020. Africa Today takes a quick break. We shall come back with business, health and sports. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. Now, talking matters business, 3 Nigerian teenagers have developed an application they hope will help to tackle climate change. The team has created EarthX, which combines information about environmental trends with social networking and games.
Users create a city but need to consider how the environment might affect it as it develops. Fortune Somadia is one of the developers and explained that they decided to get people not so fully stuck on their app, but stuck on their app enough to be able to develop a sense of action towards climate change, like developing or thinking of the fact that they can do something to relieve climate change. Favor Chibuke helped Fortune create the app, and she said that in the game they also have a feature where if you cut 1 tree, you will have to plant 3 more trees. It comes as African officials push to make more industrialized nations pay for environmental damage done to poorer countries. Africa needs around $3 trillion to fulfill its self-determined emission targets, known as nationally determined contributions, that each country is required to submit as part of the 2015 Paris Agreement on Climate, according to UN and Africa Development Bank estimates.
In a health news today, 3 health professionals in Senegal have been arrested following the death of a mother and baby during childbirth. The death occurred in a health center at Kédougou Hospital in the southeast of the country.
Officials say a gynecologist, an anesthetic and a nurse were arrested pending investigations into involuntary manslaughter. The incident has highlighted concerns about weaknesses in the Senegalese health system, but prosecutors in Kédougou said that there has been a clear failure to represent the basic rules of medicine. Health bosses in Kédougou have challenged the decision to hold the medical staff in custody, suggesting the accused should have remained free to continue practicing because there is a severe shortage of health professionals in the area. The chief doctor of the health district called for a national strike on Friday, 2nd September, to support colleagues, and the Senegalese Association of Obstetric Gynecologists called it abusive arrest, insisting the team did the best it could with limited facilities.
In our sports news today, Uganda Cranes confirmed their place at the next year's African Nations Championship in fascinating style after dumping Tanzania. The Cranes defeated Tanzania 3-0 in the return leg played on Saturday at St. Mary's Stadium, Tutande, to advance 4-0 on aggregate.
Yesterday's qualification meant Uganda will qualify at the final tournament for the sixth successive time, having featured at the 2011, 2014, 2016, 2018 and 2020 editions. It should be noted that CHAN is only played by nationals playing in their domestic leagues across Africa. Moses Waiswa, Richard Basangwa and Rogers Mato scored a goal each to guide Uganda to the victory on Saturday. Coach Milutin Siredojevic made one change from the team that started away in Dar es Salaam with Derek Ndahiro replacing Ibrahim Juma in the left-back position. Waiswa broke the deadlock in the 16th minute when he fired home from the spot. At the quarter-hour mark, Rogers Mato was brought down in the area and the referee from Djibouti did not hesitate to point to the spot. Waiswa took the resultant penalty, sending goalkeeper Aishi Manula the wrong way to give Uganda an early lead. The 2022 edition, which was postponed to January 2023, will be staged in Nigeria.
Thank you so much, reporter Ahumuza. It is at this particular time that I thank you for always being with us and always joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We shall keep updating you. It is TV Africa, the right to know.